Episode 11, the first 60-second lesson, why bite-sized learning changed everything. Imagine everything you thought about Islamic education being turned upside down in just 60 seconds. Not 60 minutes, not 60 hours, 60 seconds. This is a story of how a simple voice note sent during Singapore's circuit breaker became the foundation for over 1 million Quran lessons delivered across 25 countries. A story about why sometimes the most revolutionary ideas come in the smallest packages. I'm Muhammad Ikram from Wat Tanjong Mosque, and today we are diving deep into the moment that changed everything. The creation of Quran Beats' first 60-second lesson. Before March 2020, we had a problem that most mosques don't like to admit. Traditional Quran classes were failing too many people, not because the teachers weren't good, not because the content wasn't valuable, but because life had gotten too complicated for most people to commit to structured learning. So think about it. Traditional classes require you to be at a specific place at a specific time for a specific duration, and for working parents, students, elderly folks with mobility issues, or anyone living outside the mosque's immediate area, this was nearly impossible. We were teaching the Quran the same way we had for decades. While the world around us had completely changed, people were consuming knowledge in bite-sized pieces on their phones. They were learning languages through 5-minute apps. They were watching cooking tutorials on 60-second videos. But Quran education, we were still expecting people to sit through hour-long sessions. The circuit breaker didn't create this problem. It made it impossible to ignore. The first 60-second lessons wasn't really that plan. It was born out of pure necessity. Sister Yushaida was trying to help a student who had missed several WhatsApp voice notes session. Instead of sending a lengthy explanation, she decided to break down just one aspect of the pronunciation into the shortest possible teaching moment. So she recorded herself saying, "Today we are focusing on just the letter alif. Listen to how your tongue should read it. Try 3 times. Send me your attempts." The total time, 58 seconds. The student sent back her attempt within a minute, and for the first time in weeks, she had actually completed a lesson. That's when we realized something profound. We had been thinking about education all wrong. We were trying to fit people's lives into our teaching schedule instead of fitting our teaching into their lives. Here's what we discovered about microlearning that nobody in Islamic education at least was talking about at that time. The human brain can only hold so much information in what psychologists call working memory before it gets overwhelmed. For most people, that's about 60 to 90 seconds of new focused content. Beyond that, the retention drops dramatically. People start multitasking, they lose focus, they feel overwhelmed. But within 60 seconds, magic happens. People can focus completely, they can practice immediately, they can feel successful right away. More importantly, they can fit into any part of their day. Waiting for the bus, walking to work, during lunch break, before going to sleep. The lesson wasn't just short, it was completable, and completion builds confidence. Confidence builds habit, habit builds transformation. The first lesson taught us 5 principles that became the foundation of everything Quran Beat would become. The first is one concept only. Each lesson focused on exactly one thing, not pronunciation and tajweed and meaning, just pronunciation, or just one letter, or just one sound. Number 2, immediate practice. Students didn't just listen, they had to try it themselves within the lesson time frame. Number 3, voice first learning. Audio creates intimacy that text couldn't match. Students could hear exactly how something should sound. Number 4, instant feedback. Students sent their attempts immediately while the lesson was fresh in their minds. And number 5, success achievable. Every lesson was designed so that every student could succeed regardless of their starting level. So the ripple effects begin. Within a week of the first 60-second lesson, something unexpected happened. Students started asking for more. Not longer lessons, more short lessons. Okay, can you do for the next letter? What about showing me how to connect the sounds? My daughter heard your voice note. Can she get the same lesson as me? The team had realized they had accidentally solved a problem much bigger than COVID-19 restrictions. They had made Quran learning accessible to people who had never been able to learn before. Working mothers could listen during their commute. Elderly students could replay lessons at their own pace. Children could learn alongside their parents. People in different time zones could learn whenever it worked for them. The technology was simple. WhatsApp voice notes or Telegram voice notes, but the impact was revolutionary. By the end of April, they had delivered over 300 60-second lessons to 47 students from all over the shop. This wasn't supposed to be possible. Traditional Islamic education required years of study, complex curricula, structured progression, certified teachers in physical classrooms. But students were learning fast and they were loving it. So here's what the data showed us. Students were completing 93% of 60-second lessons compared to 37% completion rates for traditional hour-long lessons. More importantly, they were retaining what they learned because each lesson was small enough to master completely before moving on. So the team had accidentally discovered that the best way to teach the Quran wasn't to teach more, it was to teach less, but teach it perfectly, frequently, and quickly. People ask the team about the sophisticated technology platform that powers it. The truth is, the most important technology was the simplest, the human voice. WhatsApp and Telegram voice notes created something that no learning management system could replicate. When the Ustazah sent the voice notes, students didn't just hear information, they heard care, patience, encouragement. When students sent their attempts back, the teachers didn't just hear pronunciation, they heard effort, progress, sometimes struggle. The 60-second lesson formats forced the intimacy. There was no room for anything except the essential human connection between teacher and student. This wasn't scalable technology replacing human interaction. This was technology making human interactions more powerful than ever before. The 60-second lesson taught us the most educational assumption about Islamic studies were debatable. We assumed people needed comprehensive knowledge before they could practice. Wrong. People needed successful practice before they wanted comprehensive knowledge. We assume longer lessons meant deeper learning. Wrong. Shorter lessons meant more focused learning, which led to deeper retention. Third, we assume structured curricula were essential for progress. Wrong. Responsive, personalized guidance was more powerful than any curriculum. We assume people needed to understand theory before application. Wrong. People learn theory faster when they emerge from successful application. The 60-second lesson wasn't just teaching method, it was a completely different philosophy of how people actually learn. By then, something incredible had happened. Students overseas were sending voice notes to teachers in Singapore. A grandmother was in Indonesia, other countries was learning alongside her granddaughter. A working mother in Canada, Australia was practicing the same lessons as a university student in the Middle East. All through 60-second WhatsApp voice notes, the team had accidentally created the world's first truly global Islamic micro-learning community. Not through expensive technology or massive marketing budgets, but through simple recognition that everyone, everywhere had 60 seconds. The lesson format was so simple that it could work in any language, in any time zone, and any economic situation. All you needed was a phone and the willingness to try. Today, Quran Beat has delivered over 1.2 million lessons across 30 countries. They have sophisticated learning platforms at the back end, powering progress, tracking, and professional mobile development. But everything traces back to that first 60 seconds voice note sent during the circuit breaker. That lesson taught us that innovation in Islamic education isn't about having the latest technology. It's about having the deepest understanding of how people really learn. It taught us that accessibility isn't just nice to have, it's the foundation of impact. And most importantly, it taught us that sometimes the most profound changes comes from the simplest questions. What if we made this just a little bit easier? What if we met people exactly where they are? The 60-second lessons changed everything because it proved that Islamic education could be both authentic and accessible, traditional and innovative, simple and profound. One lesson, 60 seconds, 1 million students, lessons. The power of thinking small to scale big. Next, we'll explore how those first few students became few hundreds in just a few weeks, and why the exponential growth of Quran Beat caught everyone, including the team, by complete surprise. Because sometimes the best innovations are the ones nobody saw coming, even the people who created them.